podcast. I'm Ashea, and in this edition, I'm very excited to be joined by Mark Gittins. Mark, as I'm sure a lot of you will already know, is an immersive audio engineer, and he is the owner of SenSound. And Mark is from Birmingham, UK. He is currently in Kansas City, working on a very interesting tournament. And we also have from Belgium, Pieter Doms. Pieter is the co-founder of AREAL Technologies. He has an incredible story about how he actually invented these headphones, which we'll get to in the podcast. Really fascinating stuff, and excited to get into it.
This podcast is sponsored by Genelec. If you've ever been disappointed with the way your mixes sound on other playback systems, then check out Genelec's Unio monitoring ecosystem. By providing a seamless bridge between loudspeaker and headphone monitoring, Unio allows you to quickly create great-sounding mixes that translate consistently wherever you choose to work. No more guesswork, no more surprises. Just truthful, accurate audio monitoring from stereo to immersive. To find out more, visit genelec.com/unio, spelled UNIO. Your mixes will thank you for it.
Welcome to the podcast,
Thank you.
Mark and Pieter. So before we get into the main topic, can you tell our listeners a bit about yourselves and perhaps your career so far?
Okay, great. Sure. I'll start. So, my name is Pieter Doms. I'm from Belgium. I'm now already 40 years old. Been working in pro sound for more than 20 years now. I'm a live sound engineer. I work for a company called Noise Boys. And my main occupation there is the whole Tomorrowland Glendies, I should call it now. So I get to travel a lot. I also tour with a DJ act named Hardwell. So
Nice, very nice.
yeah, I see a lot of planes and airports. Not so much of countries, unfortunately. And the last 6 years, I started this second path in my career that is called AREAL. And during the pandemic, we developed on one side, a upmix algorithm that can convert stereo music to immersive audio in real time. And a side project from that is our SR1 headphones, which is a immersive pair of headphones that can recreate a 3D soundscape in a non-binaural way. So listening to immersive audio by not using binaural technologies.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that further, obviously. So let's go to Mark, who's joining us from... Where are you joining us from, Mark?
I'm joining you from Kansas City in the United States of America.
Wow.
I'm out here working on a certain football tournament. I'm from Birmingham in England originally. I'm an audio engineer. I split my time between running 2 studios, one in Birmingham city centre called Megatone, which is a tracking room and control room. It gets dry hired out now to lots of different very talented engineers who record bands there. And I'm there every now and then when I've got an album project on. Apart from that, I also run SenSound, which is a 914 Neumann-based mix room, which is based at my house, where I'm working on immersive projects and mixing stereo work as well.
Nice.
Outside of that, I also work as an outside broadcast engineer, which is what brought me to lovely Kansas City. It really is a lovely place, actually.
It is a lovely place, but I find there's no place like home, particularly when you're from Birmingham, right?
Well done, yeah.
Sorry. Had to get
It's
that.
fine. You did well there.
Carry on.
Yeah, so that's basically me, really. My time is kind of split 50-50 between doing outside broadcast work and music projects. I'm quite lucky in that respect, and I enjoy the variety of it.
And I assume you're a football fan.
No, I've got absolutely no interest in football
That's
whatsoever.
hilarious.
I was the kid at school who purposely forgot his football kit so he could spend time in the music room.
So it's rather ironic that you get the...
Massively ironic, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So on that wonderful note, could you tell us a bit about the miserable day in the life of being at the World Cup with, I assume, and you're taking your AREAL headphones with you as well, which is
I have those
interesting.
here with me, yeah. Not for any World Cup work. I have them here for when I have immersive projects going on, so I can carry on working essentially while I'm out here. Which they're super useful, really handy to have here. I do have a rig that I've been using for a couple of years now, which consists of a laptop which basically mirrors my Studio Pro Tools rig, with all the same plugins and applications on it. And then I also use Virtuoso for binaural monitoring and room simulation. And now I'm lucky enough to have the AREAL SR1 headphones as well to use alongside that, and they're absolutely brilliant. They're really useful.
So
I'm finding them
Very
really
happy
great.
to hear that.
Yeah.
that's brilliant. So could you walk our listeners through, you can do a day in the life or a few days in the life or an hour, depending on how fast-paced it all is.
It's quite fast paced. Well, it can be both actually. I can't say too much technical because I'm under an NDA.
Okay.
Around it, but I can give you a bit of an outline of what happens on a tournament like this. So there's a small team of engineers who are positioned at each stadium. On this one, we've got stadiums in the US, Canada, and Mexico, so we're all spread out quite a lot. We come in, some of us a couple of months before the tournament starts, and we oversee all the cable getting laid into the stadium. So for a tournament like this, it's all cabled as what's called a home run. So we don't use the stadium infrastructure at all, and we cable from broadcast trucks to positions in the stadium. So you can imagine the amount of cable that is to get from a compound outside a stadium into the stadium. And then we set up, from an audio point of view, we set up all the effects mics around the stadium. So there's, off the top of my head, about 22 effects mics around the pitch, including some immersive microphones. There's an immersive array, which is hung off the top of the stadium, which was a lot of fun doing. There's commentary positions, interview positions, microphones on cameras, the spider cam, which is the cam that flies over the pitch, are suspended on 4 cables that has a microphone on it as well. So there's all sorts of infrastructure that goes into the stadium, and then that all gets sent back to a location where it gets QC'd, and then passed on to distributors, different broadcasters essentially. So we're what's called the host broadcaster there. So we're the main. We provide the main set of pictures and audio that all broadcasters around the world use for their coverage.
Excellent.
A day in the life can really vary. So, like I said, we've been here quite a while before the tournament. So sometimes we're working with third parties to get different elements of a broadcast setup. Other times we are frantically running around trying to meet deadlines, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of walking around, a lot of equipment moving around, and it's that whole saying of "it takes a village" is really really apt in this situation.
Absolutely. So it's a lot of teamwork.
A lot of teamwork, people from all over the world. We've got Australians, Argentinians, British, American, French. There's all sorts of nationalities working on this tournament. It's really cool. It's really nice.
Nice. And Peter, are you a football fan?
Only when it's the World Cup and
Yes.
the Belgians are still in the game. Then I'm a football fan. No, I basically never watch football, unfortunately. But now I'm watching because it's the World Cup. So
Yes, I'm the same.
Yeah.
Bit of a glory hunter as well.
The Production Expert Podcast is made possible using the new Source Nexus suite from Source Elements, the professional way to collaborate over the internet, along with high-definition, low-latency audio and video. Need to record an interview or a podcast, or collaborate with others for songwriting, review and approval, remote editing, and more. With Source Nexus Suite, using any browser, you'll get studio-quality audio and video, along with custom-built tools for seamless integration with your DAW. Pricing starts at free. Get your account today at sourceelements.com.
So, what would you say, Mark, are the challenges that engineers face in getting started with immersive audio? Because you've obviously done a great job and terribly well for yourself so far in that field.
That's very kind of you to say. I would say the challenges, the main one, the obvious one, is the room, the rig, the infrastructure, I guess. So having a room big enough for X amount of speakers, an interface which not only outputs enough to feed those speakers, but has the ability to EQ and time align those outputs is critical. There's a steep learning curve, I'd say. It's not difficult to mix in immersive. It's difficult to get it right and to get it to sound good on all formats, all playback formats. Yeah, I think they're the main limitations, I think. Challenges.
I think a lot of it, again, is the setup and, just sort of...
The calibration.
Budgeting, being able to hear things. And beyond the studio, what would you say the sort of challenges are for immersive monitoring?
Outside of the studio?
Yeah.
That's a really interesting question. So obviously within a studio, you're listening to a calibrated system of multiple speakers, which are all facing towards one single listening position. Hopefully with as little room interaction as possible. Outside of the studio, previously you have binaural monitoring options. As I said earlier, like Virtuoso is a really good option for that. There are many others. I think Neumann have got one. There's I can't remember now, but I think Stephen Slate might have one. There's various different immersive binaural listening platforms around. Some are better than others, in my opinion. A lot of the time, you get sort of the front side of the image is pretty well represented in some of these. A lot of the time, the heights and the rears not so well represented. Yeah, and then obviously there's getting signals in and out of your Pro Tools or Chosen DAW into these monitoring situations as well. This can be a challenge.
Mm-hmm. And obviously for people like you that are on the go a lot, having a decent headphone system is really important.
Yeah, really important, yeah.
So I'm intrigued to find out about, number one, the limitations of binaural monitoring, but also why and how the AREAL headphones are helping with that. And also Pieter, actually. I want to open it up to Pieter.
Yeah, I'd like to hear Peter's opinion on that
I'd like to
from
hear
a more
Peter's.
technical point of view
Yes,
as well, yeah.
exactly, Pieter. Please, go ahead.
Yeah, so welcome in my world for the last 5 or 6 years. Maybe I'll quickly start how the idea was founded to create this pair of headphones. So initially, we designed this upmix algorithm, mainly requested by Tomorrowland because they wanted to increase their spectators' listening experience. They wanted to have immersive audio. We were limited by only having stereo inputs, so we started working on this algorithm, and we built an upmix engine that can convert stereo to immersive audio in real time.
Where was that being used within the scope of the festival?
So the idea came because of this specific stage Tomorrowland designed, which was a full 360 experience with video, LED, lights everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And they wanted the sound to follow that 360 feeling. And there was not really a solution back then that could work with stereo input and give it that immersive experience. So we designed the algorithm and the processor as a ginormous prototype, heavy as hell. It was a hideous thing to look at, but it worked. And we inserted that basically. The setup remains identical. You just have your DJ booth that's going to a front of house console, and from the front of house console you're going to that upmix engine, and that's going to the speakers. So it's sort of inserted between front of house desk and the speakers, and it will give you multiple outputs. Up to
How many outputs does that give you?
So we have we're flexible. We can do stereo to 4, 6, or 8 speakers surrounding you. And then later we added the 3D layer, so we can also generate a height layer or a very wide layer, depending on how you implement it. That can go up to 4 speakers. So we could do stereo to 714 in real time. That's sort of the limitation. So we had this upmix algorithm, and then pandemic hit because we're 2020, and the festival. Of course, got shut down. But we kept on working on this technology because there was more than time enough, because there was nothing else to do if you're a live sound engineer. So me and one of my best friends and basically partner in crime, Arno Voortman, we got together, we rebuilt my garden shed to a studio, and we started just experimenting. And it was really a garden shed project. Up until the point we were like, this is getting, really good, and we should continue with this. But that just costs time and money. Time we have because there's nothing else to do. But money, that's going to be tight. So maybe we'll ask Tomorrowland if they want to have a listen and maybe join in this project. And that's sort of how AREAL was founded. So we showed Tomorrowland, and they were really enthusiastic about it. They only had one concern, saying, okay, this is very nice. You have a nice studio here. It sounds amazing. We're not sure if or when there's going to be a festival again. How can we get this listening experience to the people at home? And that's when I said, I'll build my studio in a headphone. I'll just add speakers and we'll make it like that. So I love it.
Didn't you know? Sorry, I just need to stop you there. You just said that so blasé. It was quite hilarious. I'll just build it in a headphone.
Yeah, so
go on.
It was sort of intended as a joke, but then this silence came in for like 5 seconds when everybody was thinking, would that be possible? So we started exploring, and I ordered some drivers online, hot glue gun, soldering stuff, just trying out stuff. And the initial idea was to just do stereo in and then have a better stereo experience on headphones, just having a wider stereo image. But as we were exploring and going, we started noticing that it localizes sound pretty good. So how would it work if we would feed it an actual Dolby Atmos, file? How would that represent? And we were really shocked to hear how good that localization worked when you use multiple drivers and you're not 100% dependent on HRTFs and binaural technology. And then it sort of twisted, as in it is now mainly a immersive monitoring tool. And as a small addition, it has the upmix inside just to listen to stereo on a wider stage. So that's twisted 180 degrees when we started noticing that it just represents 3D audio so well.
You must have been very pleased with yourself when I would have been.
When I hear Mark say it really works well and it helps me a lot, that's why I think, okay, yes, we did a good job, and I'm glad everybody hears the same thing. That helps.
This podcast is sponsored by Genelec. If you've ever been disappointed with the way your mixes sound on other playback systems, then check out Genelec's Unio monitoring ecosystem. By providing a seamless bridge between loudspeaker and headphone monitoring, Unio allows you to quickly create great sounding mixes that translate consistently wherever you choose to work. No more guesswork, no more surprises. Just truthful, accurate audio monitoring from stereo to immersive. To find out more, visit genelec.com/unio, spelled UNIO. Your mixes will thank you for it.
Mark, tell us more about your experience with the headphones.
Yeah, well, I was sent the headphones to write a review for Production Expert for. I set them up within a matter of 5 minutes. It was an absolute breeze, which was good. It was a really quick setup time on them. And I was absolutely blown away by the localization of sound. It's really impressive. So the way I normally test these things when I first get them is on Apple Music, there's a Dolby speaker test where it's...
I listened to that a million of times at least.
Millions of times, where it's just a voice coming out of each channel where it kind of says like left, center, right, in a very robotic fashion. But it's a really good way of getting your head around localization in a set of headphones. And when it came to the sides, I was like, oh, well, this is really interesting because it's right there at the sides. And then it got to the rears, and I thought, oh, that sounds like it's coming from behind me. Mm-hmm. And then it went to the tops, and I thought, well, that's given me a sense of height as well. So this is really promising. And then I listened to some mixes on it, and they sounded exactly how they should sound. So I was instantly a fan.
I mean, there's this sort of debate, and most people would say headphones can't actually replace a room, and that you always have to check on speakers at the end of the day. But how close would you say these headphones are? And do they translate well to a mixing room?
Yes and yes. They're really good. And they do translate well to a mix room. I would still say that listening on speakers is essential. And that's only because sometimes your brain, I think, can trick you when you're listening on headphones into things, it's really hard to put, things sounding better than they do purely based on their position.
It's the visual confirmation that you see a speaker coming from somewhere. You will localize it better. No, and I fully agree with the statement of saying it cannot replace an actual room.
No.
I don't think, maybe at some point, but it is so critical. If you see how many parameters we already use in the algorithm, because just an FYI, but Mark has a beta version actually. The actual shipping units we have now are still on a older firmware, but the firmware we sent to Mark, it has the new room simulation module and everything in it. So there's personalization now, so you can have an equalizer just to tune it to your desire, because a million audio people means a million ways to tune speakers.
lots of different opinions.
We tried making something that's good for everybody. It's impossible. So we give you the final details you can do yourself. Do you want more highs, more lows? It's up to you. But most importantly, it has the head width parameter. So we can now optimize for unique head widths, because in binaural world, that is a very important parameter. So we can now tweak it. So if it's wider, if it's more narrow, it will optimize better. And it has the room simulation module. And what we did is we actually virtually placed speakers in a room, then defined the size of a room, and we added the first early reflections of that speaker in that room. So some people like it very clean and keep it off, and then it is the purest and there's no interference from acoustics. So you hear the sound as it is coming out of the speaker without any room reflections. Some people then are have the feeling that it's too much on their head and want it wider, then you turn on the room simulation and you can vary how much reflection you want, but that opens up, it sort of removes the head from your head. But then again, still, it will not replace an actual room because it's so much more than that. But we try to get as close as possible, of course.
I think the caveat there is if you've got lots of experience of mixing in a room, you can draw from that experience in the headphone realm and kind of apply it and get away with it.
I assume, and I think we've had this conversation in another podcast, Mark, or at least we touched on it. I assume for sort of newer engineers that don't actually have their own room, working sort of 80% on headphones, then finishing a mix, hiring a studio and finishing a mix is perfectly
absolutely
acceptable. Pretty much like you do on
Yeah,
stereo sometimes.
totally.
That's basically, that's exactly the point where we see it being very useful. The studios are, I don't want to say expensive, but they cost a lot of money. And if you can do 50% of your work with the headphones and then optimize your studio time, then it benefits. I would never finish a project on it because you will need an actual studio, in my opinion, to verify everything. But it should help you get further down the road and get you started.
Yeah, and I think you can draw parallels to the stereo world there as well.
Yeah.
So lots of people say, oh, you can't mix on headphones in stereo. You should always mix on speakers. And then someone like Andrew Sheps just completely flips it on its head.
Exactly.
And just the majority of his mixing in headphones. That was a great podcast, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's so great chat. We need to get Andrew on again because he has so much information.
He's so cool, yeah.
He is really, really cool. And so what would you say to some people? Because there are some that say, oh, yeah, well, the general sort of listener isn't really going to come on board with immersive, and that it's not actually something that's going to really take hold in the music industry in particular.
I think it's sort of the chicken or the egg story. As long as there's no content, nobody will invest in having that experience, and as long as nobody has the rooms, nobody will make it. So it's gonna, I already noticed that it's going very slowly. I think it will be the future because especially when we switch to live, there are very, very much benefits in going to immersive, not just listening experience, but optimizing acoustics and stuff. It all benefits if you switch to immersive because, sound will become more clearer. You can work at a lower dB level with same impact. So it has a lot of benefits, and therefore I think it will be the future. I'm just not sure when it's going to be.
Okay, it feels like a natural progression, something that, Mark, what do you think?
I mean, I'd say it's already here in the mainstream to a degree. The majority of major releases now have an immersive mix, a Dolby Atmos mix. The 3 of the top 4 streaming platforms stream it. Immersive audio is prevalent in every other media distribution, so TV, film, they all rely heavily on immersive audio now. Even if it's a 5:1 mix, it's there immersively. It's not. My point is, it's not stereo. And then if you look at the future of technology in terms of wearable devices, augmented reality devices, and things like this, immersive audio is essential for those. And I just don't see how music can stay stereo in that realm, personally.
The Production Expert Podcast is made possible using the new Source Nexus suite from Source Elements, the professional way to collaborate over the internet, along with high definition, low latency audio and video. Need to record an interview or a podcast or collaborate with others for songwriting, review and approval, remote editing and more? With Source Nexus Suite, using any browser, you'll get studio quality audio and video, along with custom-built tools for seamless integration with your DAW. Pricing starts at free. Get your account today at sourceelements.com.
Peter, in terms of the future for, is it AREAL or AREAL? We need to get this straight, by the way.
the initial naming was AREAL.
Okay.
But then in Belgium, there's not that many very good English-speaking people. So everybody starts saying AREAL, and we just say, okay, let's call it AREAL then.
AREAL, yeah.
I love that.
I always assumed it was AREAL.
Yeah, there should be a dash in between the A and the real for it actually to be AREAL, but...
So what was the intent behind the name?
So AREAL, that sort of means air, means above you, means open air.
Yeah.
That was the thought behind it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to brag, but that was my initial thought I thought it was called Ariel to begin with. Like the mermaid, of course.
Yeah, we've been hearing that as well. The mermaid.
Brilliant. And yeah, so did I ask you what the future of Ariel? No, I haven't asked you that because
No.
Please carry on.
So the future of AREAL, doesn't matter how we're going to call it. No, as said, we are, of course, constantly, we're a very young company. We've been around for 5 or 6 years now. We've only been developing, working on these first 2 products. So Headphone was released beginning of this year. We just started shipping our actual upmix engines, the conversion boxes. We have distribution in UK and Belgium, and we're expanding every day. So that's now maybe, let's say, the main focus. Of course, behind that, I'm still working together with the team on new algorithms, new way to improve what we already have built. As said, Mark has a beta firmware with new features, so that hopefully will be released pretty soon. We just need to get it verified. But then it will be available for everybody. Same thing we're doing with Upmix Engine, trying to evolve the algorithm, make it more flexible, even more adaptive. So stuff like that. And of course, looking at new markets and new products.
Do you have plans? I know you might not be able to answer this, but do you have plans to release the Upmix Engine as a plugin?
I have plans, yes. No, yeah, of course. I mean, everything we test, we do through CPU processing. So there is already a version of Upmix Engine as a plugin. It is on the roadbook, so it will at some point happen. But as said, we are focusing on other things now. So we'll see whenever we find some time that then we'll build that.
Yeah, because as immersive mixers, we're always looking for new, really good upmix engines. So that'll be quite interesting.
Yeah, it's. I mean, before we started working on Upmix Engine, we of course tried every plugin that was back then to see if that could help us. The main thing where we sort of thrive is that we are very usable in live. There's no reverb added, there's no phase rotations happening, because on the live setups, you want a coherent system. You want everything working together. The sweet spot is not just one seat, it's maybe 3,000 people. So, and that's where it's really good at. So it might be, just another tool in the toolbox, and for some things it works very good. We use it in studio as well, but maybe for some other things, another mixer might work better.
So I use Upmix engines. I've got 2 that I use. I use Pentio, and I use I've drawn a blank on the other one.
Nugent? Halo?
Halo, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Those are the two main ones you will always find.
They're the 2 main ones, yeah. And I find Halo slightly more dynamic in how it mixes things, so there's a bit more movement within it. Pentio's a lot more clinical on how it mixes things, I think. And I use them so obviously we get sent stereo stems from a stereo mix, to create our Atmos mix. And I don't always want a sound to remain stereo within an immersive environment. So in that instance, I will send it. So let's say, for example, you've got a really nice like keyboard pad, a synthesizer pad or something like that. I might want that to occupy a bigger space within the immersive soundscape than just the stereo stem would. So in that instance, I'll put it into an upmix engine and use that to extract the sound into a bigger space.
Yeah, that's exactly
it's
where
the best way I can think about putting it.
How our upmix will work in a Dolby Atmos mix is it's sort of the stereo or mono to everywhere. If you just want to be in a bed of synths or whatever you want to be in, that's what it does really well. We can give some directivity to it, but it's mainly a sound to everywhere tool.
So what's your future looking like for you, Mark? Quite busy, I assume.
Yeah, so I'm here for another 3 weeks, I think, 3.5 weeks until the end of the tournament. And then I'm back home for 4 days, I think. And then I'm working on a golf tournament in the UK, a live golf tournament. And then I've got a family holiday, which I'm very much looking forward to.
I bet.
And then after that, I'm back to America, New York, for another sports tournament, which I don't think I can talk about. But yeah, that. And then on top of that as well, I've got 2, 3, 4, I think 4 Atmos albums to mix before the end of the year.
Incredible. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm hoping they land after I get back from that American job. But if they land while I'm there, then I'll have my AREAL headphones to help me get started on them.
Can you give someone else a chance, Mark? No, that's brilliant. Well done.
Yeah. There's plenty of people doing great work out there.
Yeah.
It's nice to see.
It's excellent. Yeah. I'm really glad that you're busy. It sounds really fun.
Thank you.
That's all we have time for, but thank you very much to Mark, and thank you also to Pieter, and we'll be back next time with another edition of the Production Expert Podcast.